How's it going, guys? It's me, Jimmy Champane, and today we're going to take a break from Halloween and talk about Friday the 13th. Now, I wouldn't blame you if you missed this news because E3 is in full swing, but basically, for all intents and purposes, the Friday the 13th game that Gun Media and IllFonic released last year is dead. Gun Media sent out an email this morning that said while they're going to work on getting dedicated servers going and squash as many bugs as they can, everything new that was going to be added to the game, like Uber Jason, the Grendel map, and all the new counselors, is effectively canceled. So now I'm going to do my best to break down everything that's happening here, but be warned, it is a little complicated. To boil it down, Victor Miller, who wrote the screenplay for the original Friday the 13th movie way back in 1980, is claiming that since he created the franchise, he should own it in the Jason Voorhees character. Sean Cunningham, who currently owns the company Horror Inc., that in turn currently owns Friday the 13th, says that because Miller was an employee when Friday the 13th was written, Miller has no claim to make. The big problem that everyone is dealing with here is that Miller is now saying that he wrote the script before he was an employee and then changed it once he was an employee to be Friday the 13th. Gunn says this was supposed to be resolved by October of 2017, and that obviously didn't happen, but they were banking on that. One of the conditions here that Miller is shooting for is that everything created in the Friday the 13th franchise after June 2018, at least in part, belongs to him. So Gunn can't continue working on the game. Also, if you're one of the people like me who's been wondering why you haven't seen a Friday the 13th movie in almost a decade, this is at least part of the reason. If you can believe it, things actually get worse from there. So last month, Gunn updated the game, they fixed like 300 bugs, they moved the entire thing to Unreal Engine 4, and they finally released the single player challenges that they've been kicking down the road for months now. But they also included the Uber Jason model in that patch. It was hidden away, but of course PC players found it. While I don't know the behind the scenes stuff, obviously this next part is pretty frustrating to me. Instead of just flipping the switch and putting this unbalanced Uber Jason in the game, they took him back out back in May. And now that it's June, they can't release him into the game. So if they had just flipped the switch, given him to everyone in the unbalanced state, they could have just patched the game later and fixed him. But now he's still in the game files, but we're never gonna get to play as him, which just sucks. Now I'm gonna be straight up with you guys here, and it's gonna get a little ranty. I really liked this game when it came out. I got a free PC key from Gunn and IllFonic, and then I ended up paying $40 to buy it again on PS4 just to show some support. And that ended up being a huge mistake because the servers were totally broken for about the first 2 weeks that game was out. And then on Xbox One, you couldn't even play the game for almost a month, which is, it's unacceptable. It ran pretty reliably on PC, but there were still just so many bugs and hackers, and it was a problem. And then you would ask Gunn, like, what's going on? When are you guys gonna patch this stuff? And you'd either get some canned response about them being a small team who's incredibly humbled by how many people bought their game and they're working on it as hard as they can and all that, or you get extended silence. Like, it took them almost a year to get a roadmap going for the game, and even then they didn't really stick to it. So now we're in this situation where we're still waiting on content that they announced that is in the game and we're never gonna get to play it. So this whole game from launch has been an absolute mess, and it's just a bummer because it felt like if maybe they just hired a few more people to work on it or something, or worked on fixing bugs and then focused on new content, we wouldn't be in this situation now. And I don't know the facts of the behind the scenes, but this game has been an ongoing frustration for me for over a year, and this is just, it feels like the only way it could have ended up. But despite all that, no developer or publisher should have to deal with like this. It's corporate, legal, petty bullshit because someone wants to make money where they feel like they can, and that just blows. Because if you look at anyone involved with this game on Twitter, these people are genuine fans of Friday the 13th. They did everything from the design standpoint right, and I feel like they deserve major props for that. Like, honestly, if you follow Wes on Twitter, you know how much this probably hurts for him to have this game just taken away like this. And while, yes, there were massive development problems and massive problems with communication and massive problems with bug fixing over this year that this game has been around, no developer deserves to deal with this shit, and it's a bad situation overall. It actually seemed like they were on an upswing too. It felt like they were finally hitting their stride and releasing the things that were promised way back when they kickstarted this game, and then they could actually work on new content without having that hang over their heads. But that obviously was just ripped away, and it's just a bummer all around. It's a bummer for the people who supported this game. It's a bummer bummer for the people who put all of this time of their lives into this game, and it's all for some guy who thinks he can make a buck. And you know, that blows. Who knows though, maybe we'll be playing the game in a month as Uber Jason with a new counselor and a new map, and we'll be looking back while they're squashing their bugs, being like, damn, that was a close call, but this game's in a better place now. I doubt that's gonna happen because it feels like the Friday the 13th franchise as a whole is in basically dire straits, but I'd love to hear what you think of all this down in the comments below. If you're a new viewer, I'd really appreciate a subscription. It really helps me out. But yeah, guys, that's all the time I have for today. So as always, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.